All right, so those are the six questions, six question keyword type. Yeah. So just to reiterate, we have the value question, value, that talks about the good or bad. Impact question, that talks about that talks about cause and effect. Control question, that talks about government. Responsibility question, that talks about the who has more power, who has more to blame based on this common criteria. Realistic question talks about the future. And then justified question that talks about the cost involved in a particular thing, the high cost involved. All right. Now let's look at the different question type. I'll leave this here first. Yeah, for you to take down, to have a look or something. Yeah. So while you are taking down, while you're processing this, yeah, I will go through the ones that you're not so sure first. So let me know which one you're not so sure about. Representative is the teacher's copy, so he doesn't have to copy. Hmm? Oh yeah. Yeah, you can take photo or something. I can send to you also actually. All right. Okay, let's see which ones you have questions about. Example of double barrel. One example is this. This is double barrel. Can you see why they're double barrel? Again, for two things here. You need to split your essay into two parts. The first part answers the first question. Can is the first question. Double first question. Then should will be the second question. Is there a difference between these two? Can and should versus, I mean, these two questions, any difference? Yeah, correct. The top one, like both are like, yeah, kind of. The bottom one, there's a difference between these two. Yeah. Now, the reason is this. Yeah. For this one, both have equal weightage. Can is just as important as should. So you have part A, part one, okay. Can, cannot. And part two, should not. Yeah. So it's one paragraph. So you have 4 paragraphs like this, something like this. Yeah. And plus your evaluation and things like that. But for the second question, gender equality is desirable but unrealistic. It's not necessary for you to argue the desirable part. You can just say desirable. Done. You don't have to talk about how it is undesirable. No need to argue. The bulk of your argument should be here. Yeah, to be unrealistic. Okay. And unrealistic. Okay. Which one you have to argue? This one uses the word and. This one uses the word but. Can tell? Can tell, huh? Okay. So anything before but, don't need to argue, just give one paragraph. Okay. Anything before, after but, or before ends, or this, you need to address both. Okay? Yeah. So you see it. The but question is more common. Is in A level, you tend to see this sort of question, the but question. So you just have to spend one paragraph to address the very first question on whether it is desirable. That's all. Okay. So this is a double barrel question. Let's look at here again. Let's see. Any other question? Or instead you can type if you have like questions regarding one of these types. All okay? Okay. All right. Now, if all okay, then I will point out something that's slightly more insightful. Okay, let's talk about evaluation. Context of time question always has an implied assumption about what happened in the past. So one instance is this. I say, hey Aristia, are you still drug dealing? Then you cannot say no, right? You cannot answer no. When you answer no, you say, oh no, I'm no longer a drug dealer. What's the assumption? In the past, you were a drug dealer. Okay, so there is a past assumption that you can tackle. Yeah, tackle past assumption, L4. You critique the question and say, it assumes that I was a drug dealer, but that's wrong. I was never a drug dealer. So in GP's context, it's like this. Is the media still reliable? Now, you can always argue the media was never reliable to begin with. Yeah. So that would be your very last body paragraph. And given context question, yeah, your L4, you can ignore the context. Now, one example of given context is question is this. Don't have to write down, but I'll just share here. Should money be, should the state spend more on the young or the old when resources are limited? So this question, you have to argue throughout the essay, right? Argue about how you can only choose one, young or old, right? You cannot choose both. That's when resources are limited. Huh? Then the final paragraph, we can actually either ignore these resources limited. You say whether or not resources are limited, the government must still balance, right? Balance the resources between balance the spending on both. Yeah. So you ignore this criteria. You say, no, whether or not it's limited doesn't matter. You must always strive to balance, take care of all segments of society. Yeah, because it's your duty, because you have the capacity, because of whatever reason. Okay, next one, access question. Access question, you see the word too. So something like celebrities have too much influence. Do you agree? Yeah. So to answer this question, you need to always look at the harm. The tipping point is always a harm. If I say celebrities have too much influence, you say, yeah, they're very famous. Okay, that doesn't answer the two. That only says that they are famous, that's all. But is it that are they too famous? Now, this is when you have to bring in the harm. You say, okay, if it is harmful, then it's famous. This harm can be on anyone. It can be on themselves, it can be on their fans, it can be on society in general. Double barrel we talked about. Doubt question. Now, doubt question, you need to use CAR throughout. Give an example. Do the arts really are the arts really have any value? Something like this, you need to firstly talk about yes, but not really. Yeah. So this is a CA. This is the R. Every single paragraph, you must rebut. Say not really, not really, not really. Now that itself is kind of evaluative already. Insignificance, responsibility questions. Okay, these are quite straightforward. Insignificant questions is the only kind of question, yeah, guys. Only or nothing more than. So one example is films are nothing more than an escape from reality. A-level question. You agree? So your first paragraph, you need to talk about films are an escape from reality. And then the subsequent paragraphs talk about how they are more than an escape from reality. They also is educational, is this, is that. They bring economic value, they reflect societal desires, they capture the context of the time, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, they have historical value, many years down the road, all these things. Okay, cool. So what I want you to do now is to try the next few questions in the boxes. I've done the first one already. So the question type is from this box. Yeah, the box that we just went through is a question type. And then the 6 keyword types that we went through earlier, those are keyword types. So don't confuse them. There's always question type, there's always keyword type. For instance, this question that we've done, technology today is helpful to teaching but harmful to learning. See the word but, it is a double barrel in a way. And then technology is the cause, the harm, the help, they are the impact. So it's an impact question as well. So let's try the rest. Absolute questions is for those always never kind of question. Those are absolute. If you are looking at like no longer, still, that is considered context of time because you're comparing past and present. Yeah. Science and learning can always be relied on. You can consider it okay, if I add the word only, then it should only focus. It's the same. Focus on means only, right? So the only question is considered insignificance question. Yeah, because classification matters because you have to answer it slightly differently from others. Uh, when you see words like only, you are, let's say, films are nothing more than escape from reality. It's the same as films are only escape from reality. So you talk about escape and then you talk about all the other things. So there is an overlap with absolute because you want to take the only on the extreme stance. So in terms of stance, you also can be therefore they overlap. One clue is that a lot of questions are value impact questions or keyword types. Yeah, that's true for A level. A lot of them are value and impact questions. They're the most common. Okay, let's have a look. So this will take a short break. First thing first. Hey, double barrel question, we already know. Split the question into two parts. One part for helpful to teaching, one part for harmful to learning. But we want to focus on the harmful to learning part because of the word but. So helpful to teaching, just agree and move on. Agree, yes, helpful to teaching. Okay, but you argue, you spend about 2-3 paragraphs arguing whether it is harmful to learning or not. It's an impact question because it's good or bad, meaning the benefits and disadvantages of technology. Now, the next one, do celebrities have too much power? The word too tells you, hey, it's an excess question. So you need to look at the harm, what kind of power they have and how does it harm us? Will it harm us or will it not harm us? It's impact question due to the cause and effect relationship between celebrities and influence in modern society. Celebrities and modern society. Now, should something be a priority given when there's little chance of success? The when tells you is given context already. Now, why is it a justified question? When you prioritize something, you necessarily have to deprioritize other things, right? You have to compromise other things. So there's an implied justified element of justified question here. So those priority questions, I don't know whether I mentioned this, but they often are about justification. There's a cost to it. Right? So your first paragraph, you must talk about the cost, the obvious cost. In your society, should the views of the elderly be valued more? Let's compare comparison questions between young and old. So again, to value the voice of one group, you necessarily have to forego the other. So that becomes the cost. No longer. People with special needs are no longer visible, no longer is context of time. Yeah, this is a simple value question. Impact value, either one is fine. I think it's more value. The next one is insignificance because of the word only. But it's more of an impact question. Maybe you can remove value for now. Impact question largely because storybooks entertain. There's a cause, there's an effect. Storybooks, children entertainment, cause and effect. Therefore, you use the 5 V's, right? All the impact questions, you use the 5 V's, right? In how many ways, how many children can it keep entertained? How long will it last? All those things. Should scientists focus on research that benefits the greatest number of people? Is almost the same as asking, should scientists focus only on research? So there is no difference in meaning between these two questions, with and without the word only. That makes it a insignificance question. Simple polarity, not so much. I think it's insignificance. So you need to talk about research that benefits the greatest number of people versus other research. Research that maybe benefits humanity, but zero benefit to mankind. For instance, the kind of research where I look into the outer space. I study some foreign planets. It doesn't benefit us on Earth. So do we want to focus on those sort of research? And is it justified? Obviously, because research costs money. So in your argument, you need to talk about this cost involved, opportunity cost, because resources are limited. The next question is comparison between personal privacy, also between luxury and necessity. Yeah. You will look at the value, how necessary is personal privacy because of the word necessity. How essential is it? Without it, what will happen? Without personal privacy. Can charity be truly altruistic? Do you get doubt for this one? Doubt, huh? Yeah. Which word tells you that? Truly. So what stand should we take? Yeah. Should we say truly or not truly? Fifty-fifty. Uh, we need to say not truly. Not truly. The reason is that how do you prove that it is truly altruistic? You cannot. So you can always argue with CAR. Some say yes, then your R is not truly. How far should the media be held responsible for the problems faced today? So they are both responsibility. So you compare the three entities plus media. And the last one, science and tech can always be relied on. Always is absolute. Can, here's the thing. Can is a realistic question because you need to look into the future. The four things come into mind, right? Past success, past failure, current opportunities and challenges. Okay. All right, let's take a break of, let's take a 5-minute break. When we come back, we'll go into evaluation. So long. In general, we use value. Here, like, maybe about leftovers. Like leftovers. Because the portion of wasting. And here, say, message to say reduction in waste is negative. Should be set. What if talk about some agriculture, well, it's all of us, well, some people are more like you, like extend. So you can talk about it depends on groups. Stakeholder is a very useful strategy for evaluation. So consider the older generation, younger generation, the younger generation more likely to not perform well as compared to older, more older generations who have been through hardship and understood the value of food and resources. And then the next paragraph, I don't see the point quoted. Oh, but you find the point. What is it? Because it's like he said for this where as well as telling us all he wanted to see was how you can link the passages. Because I think in the past what I used to do is like, okay, like this point of message and this point of message. Yeah. So then each of them creates their own background. Oh, right. But then he just want us to link two paragraphs. I just don't know what you can link from this. Oh. Oh. Let's see. Only two passages. From second one to start down on second. Because the giver time of labor or safely achieve less food waste. So should eat leftover, which really doesn't taste so good, will not be so safe. So here's one thing. I'm sure over here they also talk about case. Here they say food can be reused. So you don't necessarily have to sacrifice labor, taste, safety, or maybe recook, reuse, method, new process. So these two they somehow link to each other because they treat leftover food differently. One see leftover food as something undesirable, one see it as something that can be that is like a repurpose that can improve. So in that case, you can, from Singapore's context, you can maybe disagree with the repurpose one. I don't think we ferment food. We don't have a food fermenting culture here. Yeah. Do we take food and then ferment it? Not so much. Yeah. What about repurposing food? You can argue that here we don't really repurpose it. We just like eat it right away, or we really throw it away. The other reason is we live in quite a warm country. Food does go bad quite easily. So any food that we dabao, leftover food, we immediately consume it right the next day, or put it in the fridge, or we just preserve it. If we can't finish it, we throw it away. Yeah. So maybe from that perspective, you can agree more to the second passage. Yeah. Yeah. Make sense with this? Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, no problem. Speaking of this, some countries are very good at repurposing food. Generally, like from those temperate climate countries. Well, they can turn everything into alcohol, into yogurt, into everything. Whereas we don't really have that here. No. In China, people preserve food. They can take whatever vegetables and ferment it. Any vegetable. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, they're very good at that. But here we somehow we don't do it that much. Not so much. Yeah. Even the older generation, they sometimes did it, but it's kind of a lost thing. There are the Indian cultures, they have this thing called acha, but also not very common these days. Not many people eat it. And then the Malays, they have this thing called chincharu, where they ferment onion and prawn all together, mix up, ferment like seafood. Yeah, which has a very strong smell, obviously. Yeah, again, like not very popular these days. It's just that people here don't really like very strong flavored uh like food, like Chinese food.
Let's say you use the food waste as forms of energy.
As forms of energy
Firms.
for firms.
Like got some restaurants they repurpose their food
Yeah.
using some you know what eco waste.
Yeah.
And then it forms like a sort of loop. So then it forms energy
Yeah.
for their farms that they have inside. And then it goes back.
Singapore use food waste. Do you recall some examples of that? We're talking about food waste as one of the school's AQ. Yeah, I think that's interesting. Let's look at it. Singapore food waste. I think called digester. Yeah, food waste digester in Singapore. Oh, they do have it. Yeah. So is it restaurants who do it?
It's restaurants or hotels.
Hotels, likely hotels where they have a lot of likely huge like canteens, huge hotels. That makes more sense. Oh, food digester, recycling food waste. Yeah. To turn them into what? Fertilizer? Yeah. Food digester. What's this? The soil. Yeah. The soil. Yeah, turn them into fertilizer. Yes. Leftovers. Yeah, that's right. Some of these can also be used to generate biogas. So you can see breaks down microorganisms, break down food waste into wastewater. Wastewater is discharged into the waste pipe. Food waste is turned to water? Oh, really? Yeah, only soup. I think only soup can be processed into water. Yeah. Okay, yeah. This is the more correct one. Right, there you go. Food waste. Food waste can be used into feeding tank. They store the food. They use a digester to turn it into biogas. Yeah, this is it. They turn it into biogas. And biogas can be burned to generate energy, to power like electricity. So this is correct. Yeah. If you use it as a fertilizer, then it's not quite energy. They will just be repurposing it. Then this digester will then turn that into like some fertilizer to use for vegetables and plants. Generally, we use it in Singapore. We don't use it for agricultural purpose. We use it for, the trees by the roadside. So many trees, right? They often need compost, like regular like fertilizing. So we actually place compost around it. So in Singapore, you can once in a while you can smell like some smell in the garden. Yeah. So those are all public trees, not so much for agricultural purpose, but for horticultural purpose. Horticulture is like the planting of trees and and flowers. So where is this? This is in East Coast Lagoon Food Village. East Coast Lagoon Food Village. I gotta have this. I don't think it's ready yet. Yeah, I think it's just a plan. Oh, there you go. Yeah. You know this place, right? You go East Coast Park, you cycle. Yeah, this is the place. East Coast Lagoon Food Village. Ah, don't know? You don't know? East Coast Park? Eh, it's just a hawker center in East Coast Park. Hmm. Yeah.
The overpriced.
Yes, the overpriced stuff. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So that's the one. And I don't think they have it yet. Oh, they do have it. Yeah. Yeah. They do have it already. 2021. So it's still under pilot project, meaning they're testing it. I know this quite well. Last time I worked with last time my previous boss tried to start a company to deal with food waste, right? His company closed down. So people here don't care. There's not enough waste. He said that if you do this in other countries, like developed countries, right? There's so much food waste. People always over order. If you go to China, for instance, yeah, or China, there's a culture of throwing away food in China. They order like a whole banquet and then they throw everything away. Yeah, they eat a little bit of everything and then they throw the rest away. So that sort of food waste volume is immense. But in Singapore, we don't really have. We always order just enough. Yeah, just enough, maybe a little bit of extra. That's it. So that's not. It's a cultural thing here. We don't have. We also don't have very big eaters here, and we also don't have the population size to support so much food waste. Waste management in Singapore, just for your knowledge, is very efficient. Over here, so all of you to know, over here, all your rubbish goes to the incinerator. And then where does it go after that? Yeah, they burn it. And then after that, yeah, yeah. And then after that, no. You know the ash? Where is it? Where does it go to? Yeah, but the landfill in Singapore, I show you. This is a landfill in Singapore. You look at how green it is. And we don't really fill it up with like rubbish. We fill it up with ash from incinerator. So it is very, very minimal. You burn like 1 kilo of trash, you only get 100 grams of ash, for instance. So the burn is very, very thorough. There's really not much left to be to go into the landfill. Yeah. So it's one of the most efficient waste management system in the world. Yeah. It's very famous, by the way. If you go to some other countries, every time they talk about waste management, they will use Singapore as a case study. But of course, we take it for granted. We just throw it down the chute and then we forget about it. Yeah, this is Pulau Semakau. You see the ecosystem is thriving. It's a landfill, but over there, this landfill has a thriving ecosystem. It's crazy. Okay. Let's go back to. Okay. Now we look at complexity levels. Hey, they don't go through the complexity levels here. Yeah. We look at 4 questions. I'll just go through 2 of the questions. 2 questions. How many questions? 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 3 questions. I'll just look at 2 of the questions, okay? Then we will look at how to apply these complexity levels. First of all, complexity levels is how you score A. If you don't evaluate, complexity is like evaluation. If you don't evaluate, right, you are just stuck at B, C, usually C. If you want to move further into the A zone, you really have to evaluate. So don't spend so much time trying to come up with more points. Spend more time trying to think about, hey, can I go one step further to evaluate? What is evaluation? Let's look at one question first. Discuss the view that young people today are incapable of taking care of their own health. Incapable is an absolute question. And this is a responsibility question because we talk about young people. There's a sort of comparison between young people and not young people, maybe adults, to look after young people's health, or maybe even the government looking after young people's health. So who are more capable? So it's because of the comparison between these stakeholders, is a responsibility question. Now, the stand that we're going to use is young people today are capable. The thesis statement is not only are they do they have the knowledge and resources to take care of their health, there is also affordable and accessible way for them to do it. We brainstorm for these points using these internal and external factors. So internally, they have the ability to do that. Externally, there's the environment also allows them to take care of their health. Still, if you are if you're following, just give me a okay. Okay, yeah. Your questions is just type in there, okay? I will keep checking the meeting chat. Make sure if you have any question, you can raise. Now, how do we put all these points into an essay? Now, remember the structure has L1, 2, 3, 4. L1 and 2 is how you can score a C, a B at best. Yeah, so nothing interesting here. We just argue that, hey, they're capable. Some people say they're incapable because they're lazy, they're irresponsible, they don't think far, they're not prudent. But you rebut the point saying that that is a minority, the majority of young people are very concerned about their health. And go on to give another point, talking about how young people today, they can either afford healthy lifestyle or they are willing to afford, they're willing to adopt healthy lifestyle. So we can look at the lifestyle choices that are available to young people. So this is the environmental factors, the external factors. We have sports, gym, spinning, all these things that we didn't have back in our parents, our grandparents' generation. Right now, whatever sport you can dream of, there's a market for it. You can go and take part. Last time, nobody did yoga, Pilates, all that. It's quite a new thing. Like yoga, only in the past 10, 15 years. Now, in the context, in the L3, we can consider the nuances by asking the it depends question. So maybe we can say it depends on past and present, depends on the when. It can also depend on the where, meaning developed versus developing countries. So this is a bit of both. We say as societies become more developed, young people are increasingly capable of taking their own health as they lead more independent lifestyle, have more access to knowledge on the internet, they're more tech savvy, yada yada. These are the characteristics of the modern urban society. You can also argue that because this question is not in your society, you can say people in developed countries often have all these luxuries, right, that enable them to take good care of their health. Whereas people in developing countries, maybe they're less tech savvy and they lack the knowledge, they may not take very good care of their health. And then the final one, L4. L4 is when you bring in reflection of reality. Reflection of reality, sometimes you can start your sentence is in fact. Yeah. In fact, is a very good way of starting a reflection of reality. So in fact, not only are young people capable, they are even more capable than implicitly we are assuming that older generation, they're better, right? That's why we ask this question. They're better at taking care of their health. Is it true? So, young people actually can take care of their health even better than the older generation. They are the ones who are advocating for physical and mental health amongst society at large, including the other age groups. Okay, I'll send this over to you guys. Yeah. Oh. Should your society prepare for future shocks, or focus on the now? The second question. Now, I want you all to think of the L3, L4 that you can bring in here, the evaluation. Yeah, I'll show you the L1, L2 first. But L2 is just here. Think of the L3, L4. Okay. So I still also think of the L3, L4. Yeah, if you can type into the chat. You can think of any. L3 is the it depends. Do you have anything, Yuan? Type of shock, yes. What type of shock? Yeah, it depends on the type of shock. Then we go, okay, then the next thing, which is a bit harder, we should put them into buckets. What types of shocks are there? Economic, political shocks, yeah. Do we deal with them separately when it comes to future versus now? They're kind of similar, right? Yeah. So maybe economics and political won't be the way that we use to separate them. Are there other ways? Maybe you just look at future shocks. Like if you just look at future shocks, can we separate them into different types of future shocks? Mm.
How future are these shocks?
How?
Future are these shocks?
How future are these shocks? Okay. Yeah. Actually, you can talk about that. Yes. It's not here. So future shocks can be the next 10 years, can be 100 years, can be 2000 years. How far? What kind of timeline are we talking about? Some are a lot more immediate. For instance, certain shocks on, say, economic shocks, right? Because of the cyclical nature of economy, they are quite immediate. For sure, within the next couple of years, we'll have an economic downturn or upturn, whichever. And some shocks can take a long time to materialize. Yeah. If you think about Singapore running out of land, right? I think that would take some time to happen. Actually, may or may not be. Yeah, may or may not be. No, Singapore is always prepared for the future. There are some issues, for example, regarding water supply. Right? It's quite immediate to us. I think over the next 20 years, yeah, we'll experience when will Malaysia stop supplying water to us? And over the next 20 years. That's why we want to be water independent, right? Water security. So the timeline matters. You want to settle the ones that are more immediate futures rather than the more future. You can also look at the certainty of these future shocks. The types of future shocks can be very certain. It will definitely happen, like rising sea levels. Surely at some point, you have to swim to Orchard. You have to, I don't know what will happen, but that will be like quite far, not within our lifetime. And then the next thing is the not so certain, like geopolitical things. They are very dynamic. It can change overnight. Right? Today we are enemy, tomorrow we are friends. So these kind of shocks are harder to prepare for. Perhaps we should, yeah, we can focus more on the future shocks, invest our resources on future shocks that are more certain. It will definitely happen. Okay, now critiquing the question, level 4, or reflection of reality. Anything? See the chat. If I give you two things, should you eat apples or oranges? You can always critique the question and say what? Eat both, yeah. It's a false dichotomy, right? Remember? Oh, that's one thing that I should also point out. False dichotomy is a very important evaluation technique for comparison questions. Sometimes you can say, hey, it's both. We can do both. And in some ways, we can do them concurrently because preparing for current and future shocks are the same. You look at the problems we're already facing, like aging population. So we are preparing for it now because we are already aging, right? But at the same time, it helps our future. So we invest more heavily in healthcare. We make sure people are well equipped to look after themselves financially. Let's try one more question. I think we have time for one more. Okay, let's do this. Okay, look at this. Scientists should focus on research that benefits the greatest number of people. This question touches on this thing. If you're doing science and tech, important thing is it touches on the idea of pure research. Pure research or fundamental research are research projects that deal with things that examine the laws of nature. They are not so concerned about its applicability in human society. So you're going to research some insects or some animals, for instance, or you look at to some extent you research the planet, the meteorology of the planet also doesn't always relate to humankind. But nowadays, because of environmental reasons, we feel that whatever that impacts the planet also impacts us. Yeah, we start to have that realization now. But in the past, planet research, there's like climate change research, climate research is all just for fun. And then of course the research into outer space, all that is like even more detached from our human experience. There's this thing called the Large Hadron Collider in in Switzerland. The collider, okay, it takes $1 billion a year just to run it. It's a huge piece of scientific equipment that studies things at the quantum level. They take very small particles, they collide them, and then see what happens after the collision, what particles come out as a result of the collision. Now, the research outcome is very fun here. You are researching things that happen during the Big Bang. And those particles that exist during the Big Bang, okay, upon the collision, some particles will come out, right? And they only exist for a few seconds, a few nanoseconds. That means we can never make use of these things. But people still want to research them. They will spend $1 billion a year just to look at it. So that sort of research, pure fundamental research, right? Sometimes some people argue that they don't really benefit mankind. So we should not invest money on them. So that's one school of thought. The other school of thought is that research rarely tells us what it can do until much later. When the first scientists came out with laser, they said, oh, look, guys, I've discovered this thing called laser. You know what people say about laser? Some people say, hey, okay, you discovered laser, so what? No, we can't use it. Laser is just, to quote them, they say, laser is a solution looking for a problem. That means it doesn't solve any problem. That was many years ago, but you fast forward until today, laser is just everywhere. So that is a very strong argument that you can use for science and tech on why we need to continue our research, even though we don't know what benefits it will bring to mankind. So I'm giving you some clues already. So okay, you can read these these two boxes, and then think about L3, L4 evaluation. What can you bring in? Any L3 you can think about? Depends on what, where, when, why, how. Oh, yes. Depends on the where. Depends on the capability of the country. So if it's a developing country,
then maybe we should focus.
yeah, okay, very good. Yeah, and vice versa. Yeah, awesome. Yeah, spot on. Whoa. Yep. So if you are an Indian scientist, you want to do research into health science that comes up with cheap solution accessible to the masses. If you're if you're a scientist in US, oh, you can go and do like genetic research, all that that may come with some solution, right? Oh, can help people live longer, live to 200 years old, but it will cost you $2 million. Okay. So that um that direction will depend on what kind of countries you are from, right? What sort of research to pursue. Yeah. So it has to benefit the most people, yeah, especially when it comes to cost. Okay, very good. You can also talk about the the who, what, where, when, why, what types of research. Yeah. You can talk about what types of research. So, like what I mentioned earlier, some research has absolutely absolutely zero benefit to mankind. Yeah, those are, if that's the case, then maybe we don't want to, like certain types of research, outer space one especially, talking about planets far, far, far away, like 10,000 light years away. We will never, not in this or next lifetime or many, many future lifetimes, can a human being even reach a planet so far away. Come again? Populous means very, uh, like large population with a lot of people. Don't know, we have some funny research on Earth. There's this thing called a SETI. SETI is the search for extraterrestrial intelligence. So scientists send out signals to universe in all directions, and they hope that one day some alien will receive the signal and reply us. It's like a, what's this thing, the message in the bottle. Right. Yeah, you write something, put it in a bottle, throw it into the sea. It's the same thing, but they do it at a universe scale. So they send out radio signals using this giant what do you call it, transmitter. Send it far into the outer space. Some funny messages written in binary. Of course, they will assume that aliens don't understand English, so they write it up in binary, or they send like things that can be decoded into images. So I show you all some interesting thing. So this kind of research is kind of, waste of taxpayers' money. Right? Yep, there you go. Sati. Right. Look at all this transmitter. Expanding search for extraterrestrial life. Yeah. This is not search for them. Search for them is go out there to search them. This is let them search you. You're asking them to come to you because you cannot get to them. All right. I'll show you what they send out. Mm, they send out this thing, this image that's written in binary. Yeah. Honestly, yeah. As a human also, I don't understand this. I don't know how an alien will understand this. Yeah. It's a piece of message written in binary code. Now, obviously, this is a very American or European thing, right? The first thing I put in there, hey, human being, wow, we're the master of the universe. Okay. If you're an alien receiving this is the animal you should look out for, right? Okay. And then all these things that even I don't understand. Right? Don't know what this is. This is a bridge or some. I don't know what it is. Yeah. Just blast out into space. So this kind of research, you can argue, is quite pointless. Oops, sorry. Quite pointless to life on Earth. We can't even solve our own problems. Right. Now, L4 is critiquing the question. There are some tricks to critiquing the question. You can question the assumption. You can question the word, some keyword inside. Perhaps you can look at the word benefits and argue, how do we know it's benefiting? Right? Research. Does it really benefit? I mean, it benefits you, but it's not so simple as, oh, it's pure benefits. So maybe there's some cost involved, some negative impact. Yeah. Or you can write something like this. The number of people benefiting need not be the focus, as it is all of humanity which benefits. Right? They say space exploration is about everyone benefits. The benefits are more intangible, not realized at the individual level. Yeah, this is another way to look at it. Environmental science doesn't quite benefit an individual. It benefits our understanding of the planet overall, right? Which can potentially help us avoid environmental disasters. Right? Then focusing on benefiting maximum number of people does not mean allocating zero resources that to research that does not meet this benchmark. So this is a false dichotomy. It presents you with like, should you do A or should you do B? No, benefiting number of people, it lies in the spectrum. They are non-binary. It's not like A or B. It's not like two buckets. Rather, you can focus, allocate resources to a range of research projects. Yeah, you can emphasize a bit more on beneficial research. Okay, so that's for this. Now, the next part is actually on paper 2. So we talk mostly about paper 1 today. Now, paper 2, I will go through, I'll go through a very brief one. Okay. Now, the first one is on time management. Teach us some trick. 1 mark is 2 minutes. 1 mark is 2 minutes. There are 15 marks for short answer questions. That's why it's 30 minutes. If you were to spend more than 2 minutes on a mark, try to do it only for summary. Summary is an area where you can score full marks quite easily, the full 8 marks. Okay, and all these things you can go through yourself, and because it's already self-explanatory, there's no value for me reading for you all this. But I want to talk about skill number 3 here, writer's craft. If they ask you a question on what are the writer's purposes, what techniques did the writers use, or how did the writer support his point? Notice all the question has the word writer in it. What's the writer's purpose? How did a writer achieve this? They are asking you about the techniques that are used. There was 1 year, they asked, what are the writer's purposes? What are the purposes? Now, these purposes, actually, what they mean is writer's techniques. To answer these kind of questions, you need to arrange your answer in this manner. First half of the answer is the technique that is used. This technique can be using a rhetorical question, using inverted commas, using repetition of some words, using pronoun like we, you, I, all that. It can also be, their conclusion links back to the introduction. Many of you have seen those kind of answers. It links back to the introduction. All these are techniques. And after that, you need to give the effect. So the writer, for instance, the writer alludes to the idea in the writer alludes in the conclusion. The writer alludes to the idea of something in the introduction. So this is the technique. Alludes to means refers to. And the effect Yeah. The effect to achieve something, yeah. In this case, to give a sense of completeness to the essay. So technique plus effect. This is one very standard way of answering. Technique, effect, technique, effect, technique, effect. Yeah. Now, the effect one, you notice to give a sense of completeness, give is a verb. It's a verb. And there are some other verbs that you can use here. The writer uses some technique to argue, to emphasize, to highlight, to illustrate, to support, blah, 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 blah. All these are words for effect. Where's the word provoke? You can say provoke. To provoke readers to think. Yeah. If you use a rhetorical question, it's to provoke readers to think. Okay. Who's this? Okay. And all right. Then the rest you can go through. No issue. Yeah. Okay. Let me go through some summary techniques with you. Oops. Oops. Who is this?
I'm you just ignore me.
Oh, okay, cool. Okay, let me go through some summary techniques with you. This is important. Summary. In summary, you have to count words, right? Now, let me give you some tricks on, firstly, how to choose points. Secondly, how to count words. These are tricks that you will need to save time. Firstly, how to choose points. When you're choosing points, always use KIV, keep in view. Let's say I have a summary. Give you an example using this. Okay, this is a paper that you did last time. Oops, what's this? So you look at you look at the passage, they ask you, okay, summarize the effects of blah, 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 whatever. So you summarize everything, you pick everything that's relevant. You pick until here, okay, I have the points needed, points I need to write. And the wrong way to do it is this. Many students, they do this, they do, oh, you know what? I paraphrase, then until here, oh, enough, 120 words. The word limit is up, so I stop here. Yeah, or here, wherever. So you've only paraphrased maybe the first two paragraphs. The danger in this strategy is, how do we know if there's nothing better below? How do I know that these points over here are better than the points below? So naturally you select more points than you have. If not, then you have underselected. But most of the time, 90% of the time, you select more than 120 words one. So you should be able to differentiate which are the good points, which are the bad ones. What I will do usually is I will rank the points. I will pick out the points that are not so good. For example, this point, just for instance, this point, I say, hey, this point, I'm not very convinced it's a point because maybe it's too long. Maybe the point has metaphors. I don't understand how to paraphrase that. Maybe the point is repeated or it may be irrelevant. So you pick out those points, okay? and then you write KIV. You just put a note somewhere, write KIV. KIV means keep in view. After you keep in view, and you're done selecting already, you decide, should I keep them or should I drop them? If I have enough words, I keep. If not, I will drop them. How to know if you have enough words? Very easy. You look at everything you've selected and count them. But don't count one by one. You can count using this technique. You can count in total 8 lines of words. 8 lines. 8 lines equals 120 words, regardless of all your prelim, A-level, they're all printed 15 lines per words. Yeah, roughly there are 14 to 16 lines, plus minus. So as long as you have 8 lines, that's 120 words, right? You just count, okay, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like how many lines? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5.5, okay, 6, 7, okay, this is definitely more than 8 lines over here. We know already. All those KIV, do we keep? Do we drop? Drop all of them. Yeah, so only keep the points that are good quality points. So this is how you count whether or not you've selected too much and what to do with the excess. Now, how then do you write? There's a trick to writing without counting words. The summary paper, you draw a line down the middle using your fingernail or using a ruler down the middle. You can't see it, examiners can't see it. And you write 5 words on each side when you're writing. 5 words on each side. So 12 lines equals 120 words. Yeah. But of course you don't make it so ugly that you got like 5 words here and then one big space and then another 5 words. Okay, don't make it so ugly, just make it a bit more subtle. Yeah. Basically 10 words on each line will be good for you to judge how many words you have written. Not only that, there's one huge benefit to this trick. It is this. Not only do I draw a line down the middle, I count 12 lines. At the end of 12 lines, I draw a line also. So I know exactly how many words I have left. You know, sometimes when you fill out some forms, they'll tell you, oh, how many characters you have left when there's a word limit. Yeah, this is the manual way of doing it. So you write, after you write 4 lines already, after you write 8 lines already, you know, I only have 40 words left. Yeah, so you're very clear on how many words you have left. So that helps you do your planning as you are writing. So you don't have to be so stressed later. Oh, did I overwrite? Then you write, then you count. Then say, oh, can write 10 more, but you forgot already. Then you write again. Then you count again from the beginning. It's a waste of time. So don't do that. Use this technique to help you save time. Yeah. Okay. So hope I share with you guys some good tips for summary. Okay. Now, the remaining part you can read. There's no need to attempt the AQ paragraph, to rewrite your paragraph in mock paper. The mock paper I returned to you, you also didn't see for the mock paper, right? Did you? No, I also didn't. So the mock paper I returned to you. If you have questions regarding mock paper, you let me know. Yeah. So Aristia, are you coming next week? To this class? Yes. Okay. Okay, cool. All right, Aristia, I'll see you next week. Yeah. Take care. Get well soon, yeah. The intro for AQ, can you usually finish your AQ?
Yes.
Yes, your problem with time management in AQ?
Management skill.
Still okay, So intro for AQ, actually the first strategy is don't write. Don't need intro. You need intro. They don't really give you marks for intro. Yeah. The reason is they want something original. There's nothing original about intro. You are just repeating what the author has said and all that. Okay? So don't need to write. Now, since you're here. Now, the next thing, if you were to write, this is how you write. You summarize the passages stand. So you can say passage 1 agree, or passage 1 approve, support, yeah, passage 1 support, passage 2, passage 3 disagree. Then after that, this one, I give it optional one. Optional. It's very hard to do. Okay, it's your stand. I find passage 1, 2 applicable to Singapore. Something like that. Now, why I say it's optional, most people don't know what they're gonna write at this point. Right? At this point, you don't know whether to agree or disagree. Only when you start writing, okay, look at it. Okay, I think I'm gonna agree. So for paper 2, usually there isn't much time for you to plan before you write. You plan for 5 minutes or 10 minutes. That's it, no? The time's up, we submit. So most of the time, you can just ignore these. So you're just summarizing what the passage is saying. The bulk of your time, however, okay, the better strategy is to work on the body paragraph for your AQ, and you write evaluation, meaning this, you have a point meaning sorry, the reference. I think this is recorded. I can record this. I hope. You have the reference, meaning the passage 1, they say this. And then after that, you interpret. A very short one, interpret, always keep it within 1 sentence. Because again, original, nothing original. You interpret. So some people call it inference or paraphrase, whatever that's selected here. Now, this, whatever that's selected, you want to keep it short. Don't give me too many ideas, just give one idea that you are going to talk about. Then you have the point, the standard one, then explanation, evaluation, explanation, example, and then spend more time on the evaluation. Evaluation 1, evaluation 2. Now the evaluation refers to like how this is very applicable in Singapore based on Singapore characteristics. Context, we call it. Okay. I find this point particularly salient because Singapore is a small society. So in the food waste one, you can say how we are relatively, Singapore used to be a very frugal Asian society. So we still retain a lot of the Asian culture of not wasting food. So our culture is our context. And then you talk about tapao, whatever, all that stuff. Then evaluation 2, this is where you can do a bit of rebuttal. You look at the limitation of your argument. So like a small rebuttal that says, hey, but things are changing in recent years. So as we become more westernized, as more foreigners come to Singapore, it changes the mix of our culture. So we have now also developed, acquired some habits of the West. Some people may not want to tap out anymore, or some people may have imported the culture from China where we would order a whole bunch of food just to impress other people. So this goes against your point. This one, it kind of opposes your point, not the author's point, opposes your point. Yeah. But after that, you say, but that remains an exception and not the norm. Yeah. So this sentence or a variation of it will close it out and say, yes, there's a limitation, but overall, my point is still correct. Right? My point is still 80% correct. And then you link and say, so overall, I agree or I disagree with the author's view. Bulk of your time should be spent here. The reason is, all this is original stuff, not from the passage. You're not paraphrasing, you're not inferring from the passage. It's all your words, your thoughts and analysis. Did your teacher tell you to write conclusion?
Yes.
Yes. Conclusion is a yes. If you have time, invest in conclusion, not intro. Conclusion, how to write? There are multiple ways to write, many ways to write. Conclusion. There's one easy way to write using SURF, like surfing. SU is summarize what you have written. I agree with A, I disagree with B. R is give a recommendation. Who should do what? Government should invest more efforts into recycling food waste, or people should be more conscious of the food they order to minimize food waste. F is future outlook. What will happen next time? So the same structure applies to paper 1 as well for conclusion, where you look at how it may happen. You can say in the foreseeable future, then you say whether it's likely or unlikely. In the foreseeable future, it is unlikely that Singaporean culture relationship with food will change dramatically. Yeah, food is food. If you dabao, it's not suddenly overnight people stop dabaoing, people start to overorder, none of that. Yeah. Now between R and F, you only have to choose one. You don't have to do both. How many body paragraphs to write? Yeah, 2 body paragraphs. What are some references we can pick? What's that? Reference meaning, where can we find references easily? You have a conclusion? No, not really.
Is it just where like the author like reinforces his stand?
Their stand, their overall stand. That's also fine. Yeah. Oh yeah,
Because I need to
you
start.
need that.
Oh my God, that's why I was there. I was waiting for you. I need you off.
Oh, you need this?
Yeah, I need recording. I need you to off recording.
Oh, you need the off recording?
And how long more? I thought your lesson.
Oh, no,
finished.
no, lesson ended already. Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, sure.
And maybe get out soon.
Ooh, you asked me to get up.